Okay guys, so today we're doing the notes for section 5-4. This is writing equations in point slope form. The nice thing is we've used point slope form in the other sets of notes, so this is just reviewing and strengthening our work with point slope form. So let's go ahead and get started. So getting started, let's remind you what the two forms that we've been concentrating on are. They are slope-intercept form and point slope form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. You must know these forms in order to be able to take this next test, not just kind of, sort of. You have to have them memorized. Point slope form is going to be y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The y and the x always stay there. The x1 and y1 come from a random point somewhere on the line, and the m is still representing your slope. That m for slope is going to be the same as the m right here for slope. So when you write an equation in point slope form and slope intercept form, you're going to start with a point and a slope, so you're going to start in point slope form. We've actually already done this. We did this from our other set of notes. So getting started on this, you would start off with y minus the y that's right here, guys. Remember, this is your x1, this is your y1, so this is your y1. So it's going to be minus 4 equals our slope right here, 2/5, times in parentheses x. And again, the x1 comes from right here, so it's going to be minus 2. Now this is your answer for point slope form. If you had two blanks, which this would have, it would have a point slope form blank and a slope intercept form blank. This is what you would write in the point slope form blank. Then you've got to distribute this across your parentheses. It's going to make it y minus 4 equals 2/5 x minus, if you multiply 2 fraction 1 5 times negative 2 on your calculator, it's going to give you negative 4/5. That's written minus 4/5. In order to get it to slope intercept form, we need the y to be by itself, so we need to move this minus 4. The opposite of a minus 4 is plus 4 plus 4. Y equals 2/5x. And then when you do negative 4 fraction 1 5 plus 4 on your calculator, it will leave it a mixed number, so you're going to have to second fraction by an equals. It's going to put it at plus, or positive, 16/5. Now, this step right here is the slope-intercept form, and it would be what you put on your second blank. That's y equals mx plus b. Now, that'd be a hard b to graph, but we don't need to graph this. All we're doing with this is just writing it in slope-intercept form. Okay, let's do another one like that. A little bit easier this time because we got 0 as one of the numbers. Guys, if 0 is one of your numbers, it's going to make it easier no matter what, because it's going to be less work. We start off in point slope form. When we write point slope form, it's going to be y, but guys, it's minus 0. We don't write minus 0. There's no need to write it, so it's just y equals our slope of negative 3/2 times in parentheses x. Now remember, this is your x, and it's minus a negative 2. A double negative would turn it into a positive 2. Remember, that's the opposite of whatever is here because the formula has minuses in the problem. So that's your point slope form. To take this to slope intercept, less work because there's nothing to move from over here, but we still have to distribute across. So that's going to make it y equals negative 3/2 x, and then negative 3/2, negative 3 fraction 1 2, times 2 on your calculator is going to give you negative 3. That is your slope-intercept form. Not a lot of work on that one because of the 0. Told you those make it easier. And it's going to be y equals mx plus b. Okay, So that's the first type of problem you will see on your assignment. The second part is going to be to take a graph and pull out the point-slope form equations from this. To do this, you're going to start by looking at the graphs and finding the slope. To do that, you're going to use the formula rise over run to find your slope. You start at the bottom point, you rise up, and you run over. So in this case, we are rising up a total of 1, 2, 3 blocks. So 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 3 over 6 is going to reduce. You need to reduce your fractions always. So 3 over 6 is going to reduce down to 1 over 2. You have a calculator that will do that for you. 3 fraction point 6 equals 1 over 2. So from there, you're going to use that slope and these points in order to do these problems. It's going to be 2 separate problems in point-slope form because we have a point and a slope, a point and a slope. So I'm going to start with this point. It doesn't matter which one you start with, guys, as long as you have both equations. All right? So it's going to be y. Now remember, since these are both negative, when you plug them in, they're both going to be positive. So it'll be y plus 7, because that's your y. And then your slope is 1/2. And then in parentheses, x, since this is -5, it's going to be plus 5 when you write it in your problem. That's one of your point slope answers. The next one in point slope form is going to be y. Since this is a -4, it's going to be plus 4 equals. The slope is going to be the same for both of these points. So it's going to be 1/2 times x. And then since this is a positive one, it's going to be -1. It's always the opposite of whatever sign it is when it's in the point. That's it. You don't solve it. It asks it for point slope form. You have to recognize that you don't solve it because it asks for it in point slope form. Okay, let's do the next one. Again, using our formula rise over run, we're going to rise up and then we are going to run over. So we're going to go up a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are going to go over a total of 2, but because we went to the left, remember that's going to make it negative. So that's going to be -2. Now, -5 over 2 does not reduce, so we're going to leave it at that, and we're just going to start writing our equations in point-slope form. Remember that we have to have 2 of them in point-slope form, so here we go. I'm going to start with the one on top just because it's on top. It's going to be y. Since this is a positive 6, it's going to be -6 equals -5 over 2 times in parentheses x. And since this x right here is a -4, when I write it in here, it's going to be a +4. There's no solving, so that's it. For the next one, it's going to be y. Since this is a positive one, it's going to be -1 equals -5 over 2, our slope. And then x, since this is a -2, it's going to be +2. Okay, guys. The last type of problem you're going to see is using 2 points, which we've already done. This is actually something we've already done. 2 points to write it in slope-intercept form. But in order to write it in slope-intercept form, you have to start in point-slope. So what we're missing is a slope. So the formula we're going to use for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I use this anytime I have 2 points. So it's going to be -6 minus that 4 over -3 minus that 2. So -6 minus 4 is going to put you at -10 over -3 minus 2 is going to be -5. And a negative divided by a negative is going to make it a positive. And then 10 over 5 reduces down to 2. Now, it makes absolutely no difference which one of these 2 points you use to put it in point slope form. You just have to pick one. I'm going to use this one this time, so I'm going to put a box around it. That way I know which point I'm using. You can't use numbers from each point, guys. You got to pick one. They give you the exact same answer in the end. So I'm going to write it in point slope form because I've got a point and a slope. So here we go. Y minus 4 equals, because that's my y, my slope of 2 times x minus 2. I distribute this across because I need it to be in slope-intercept form, so I know I need to solve it. And it's going to be y minus 4 equals 2x minus 4. Then we're going to add 4, and this is kind of unique because that cancels out both of those, and I'm going to get y equals 2x for my slope-intercept form. Now guys, remember what it means. If there's nothing here, the only thing you could add to this is 0. That means your y-intercept is going to be 0, 0, which is the origin. This line is going to go through the origin. Okay, last one. We're going to use that formula again to find slope. So it's going to be y minus y, which is 3 minus 6, over x minus x, which is going to be 3 minus negative 6. They are very different. A double negative turns into a positive, and we're going to end up at 3 minus 6, which is negative 3, over 3 plus 6, which is 9, which makes it negative 1/3. You're going to use that negative 1/3 with one of your 2 points. I'm going to use the second one this time just to show you it makes absolutely no difference which point you use. We're going to write it in point slope form because we got a point and a slope, which is going to make it y minus 3 equals negative 1/3 times x. Again, this is your x, this is your y, so this is the x, so it would be minus 3. You need to solve it because it asks for slope-intercept form, so we're going to multiply across. It's going to make it y minus 3 equals negative 1/3 x. And then negative times the negative is going to make this a positive, and negative 1/3 times negative 3 on your calculator is going to make it 1. From there, we need the y by itself, so we add 3, and we're going to get y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4. That's going to be my slope-intercept form. I'm going to have a slope of negative 1/3 and a y-intercept of 0, 4. Okay, guys, that's your notes for today. Finish these up and then get the worksheet done.